Baruch Hashem. So yesterday we had two parts shiur, and we got in the end of the second shiur, second session, we got to תקנת עזרא שיהיו מכבסים בגדים ביום חמישי בשבס מפני כבוד שבס. So we got to the subject matter of making the laundry in Thursday in the honor of Shabbos. Okay, what's the reason? Meaning, obviously, you need clean clothing for Shabbos. Question is, what is the right timing to do your laundry, right? So, people used to do it in Friday, before Shabbos. Came Ezra Sofer, and he said, guys, you're not doing good, because you're spending the whole day of Erev Shabbos on cleaning your clothes, and it's not enough time also to prepare the food and clean the house. So, you're missing a big portion of the preparation for Shabbos like that. So it's better to do the laundry in the day before, on Thursday. And then Friday you can dedicate the day for other things, cleaning the house, making the shopping, preparing the food. And that was the way to do, right? The question is nowadays, because in their time to go to make laundry, it was a big thing to go to the river. You have to rub the clothing by hand. It takes a lot of time, a lot of strength. It's not simple. Today you just shove it into the machine, push the button, and that's it, finished, right? So there is a general question. Do you say that whenever the reason is not relevant anymore, so there's no issue, there's no decree? Or you say no, even though the reason behind it became to be not relevant, but we're still keeping that tradition. Okay? So there is many people that they say, look, whatever was in time of Ezra Sofer, that was relevant for his time. Today, because of the machines, like I said, so it's not a big deal, do it. You can do the clothing in Friday. You can do the laundry in Friday. There is some people that they say, no, Ezra Sofer was, the last one of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. They had prophecy. It's not only the reason that we think. There's other reasons behind it. So we shouldn't do laundry in Friday, doesn't matter what. Yeah. I have an aunt, Hashem will send her good health and long life, that one time we went to her for Shabbos, and we the kids made their clothing dirty, and she said, look, I want to help you, but I accepted on myself, I'm not doing laundry in Friday because of the Takana of Ezra Sofer. So if you want to use my machine, I can give you my permission, but I cannot do it for you. You have to decide. If you want to do it, you do it yourself. I accept on myself not to do laundry in Friday. So each person according to his place and time and need. For me personally, I would like to keep it, this Takana of Ezra Sofer, but as it is, I'm not managing to do the laundry. It's overloaded usually because there's kids and whatever, all kinds of technical issues there. And I say I'm letting my family to use the washing machine also on Friday. Anyhow, it's a general question how to relate to all kinds of decrees from the previous generations. Let's see what the Mishnah Berurah is saying here. כדי לכבד את השבס, דמזונות של שבס ויום טוב מוסיפין. No. Did you read the Mishnah Berurah Daled? No. We didn't read Mishnah Berurah Daled. So that's the Mishnah Berurah Daled is before where I started in the Shulchan Aruch. So let's go for that. Okay, the point of the Mishnah Berurah Daled is about what we were discussing yesterday, that if a person have, for example, a budget of 700 shekels a week for food, so it would have made sense to make it like 100 shekels for every day, and then Shabbos will get the same amount like the rest of the days. And Shulchan Aruch is giving us a chiddush that the right thing is no, make it the budget lower in the other days to have extra for Shabbos. So whatever you can, like cut it down in the rest of the days and keep it for Shabbos, so it's better. Okay, fine. So now the Mishnah Berurah is adding on top of the Shulchan Aruch, and he's saying, what will be another reason to do this calculation of cutting off in the rest of the days and keeping extra money for Shabbos? So the Mishnah Berurah says, מזונו של שבס ויום טוב, אם מוסיפים לו, כמו שאמרו חז"ל, כל מזונותיו של אדם קצובים לו מראש שנה עד ראש שנה. ויש להיזהר שלא יוסיף בהן פן לא יקצבו לו כל כך. הוא תמורתו שבס ויום טוב, והוצאות בלעם ותלמוד תורה. So there is a principle that it says that in Rosh Hashanah there is a decree on every person what will be his income for the rest of the year, right? Besides of Tishrei, yeah? מתשרי עד תשרי חוץ מתשרי. You know this? You know this? You don't know this, Simon? From Tishrei to Tishrei, from one year to another year, except of Tishrei, besides of Tishrei. So what is the Tishrei? So Taf is Talmud Torah. Yeah?
Wow.
Shin is Shabbos. Reish is Rosh Chodesh. And Yud is Yom Tov. So these 4 things that are not part of the calculation. So you have the Parnasa from Tishrei to Tishrei besides of Tishrei. The Tishrei, like those 4 things are out of the calculation.
What was Taf again?
Taf is Talmud Torah. If you need to spend money for the education of Torah of your children. Yeah. So some people they say, how can I afford my children's Jewish school? It's so expensive. I don't have enough money, right? And so on and so forth. So Tishrei is out of the calculation. What you're spending on the education of the children for Torah, Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, Yom Tov, those things are not part of the calculation or the decree of the Parnasa, right? So according to that understanding, what will be the right management of your house budget? I have a certain amount to spend for food, right? I can spend it on when I'm going to the market in Sunday or Monday for the beginning of the week, all the weekdays basically, or I can keep it for Thursday or Friday when I'm going to the market to buy things for Shabbos. So if I spend the money in the beginning of the week and it goes for the food of the middle of the week, the weekdays, so then it's part of the decree. So it goes down from the calculation. It goes down from my yearly budget, right? That I got the decree in Rosh Hashanah. But if I will keep as much as possible the majority of the money for the shopping that I'm doing in the end of the week, that is specifically for Shabbos, okay, I can eat from this also Friday, Erev Shabbos, and the leftovers after Shabbos, right? And Sunday, Monday, whatever it is. There's no prohibition, but the main reason I'm going to the market and I'm buying food is for Shabbos. So if that's the case, so that's not part of the calculation. It doesn't go down from the yearly budget that I got the decree in Rosh Hashanah. So what is better? Obviously to buy things like the major like purchase, do it for Shabbos, right?
So if a person thinks that, you should go out and spend because it's not coming out of his pocket.
Right.
If he doesn't spend, then
I have a certain amount of money that I'm going to receive along the year. And whatever I'm spending on Shabbos is a part of that, besides that. I'll get the same amount for the year anyhow, for the weekdays. And for Shabbos is something else, it's a different calculation. Yeah? It's not easy to leave it. There's many people that it's a big struggle for them to have the faith, to go for that. But that's what we learn from Chazal. ויש להיזהר שלא יוסיף בהן פן לא קצבו לו כל כך חוץ מהודעות שבס ויום טוב והוצאות בניו לתלמוד תורה שאם מוסיף מוסיפין לו. So whatever you're spending in the year, you don't know if it's going to come back or it's not going to come back, because maybe it's not part of, maybe it will bring it down the yearly budget. But when you're buying for the rest of the, like those Tishrei things that I said, then you don't have a problem, right? ולובין בריבית לצורך סעודת שבס או סעודת מצווה, והיינו מאינו יהודי ומישראל בדרך היתר. Okay? Now what about if I don't have a friend to take a loan from, I don't have a cash money, I don't have a friend to take a loan from him, and I want to buy something nice for Shabbos? What should I do, Rabbi? The only way that I can get some cash money is from this guy, my neighbor, that is not Jewish and is giving loans with interest. Yeah? The bank. So, if it is bank, so it's the problem that I said yesterday. That there's a good chance that somewhere between the shareholders of the bank, you have also Jewish people, and then you have the provision of interest, right? So if you have someone Jewish there, it have to be with heteriska. Heteriska is a whole big subject matter. Okay, we got into that, so I'll give you some points of what is the permission of heteriska. Let's say I have a business. I want to invest in this book. I think that's a very good investment. I need to spend 100 shekels on this book, and then I will be able to sell it in 200 shekels. Yeah? I don't have the 100 shekel to invest in the business. So I'm telling you, look, give me 100 shekels. I'll use that to make a business. And we will split the profit. Yeah? So I will pay you back your 100 shekels that you gave me, plus 50% of the profit. Doesn't have to be 50%. A certain amount of the profit. Yeah? So you will get the 100 back plus 50%. Is that an interest? No, it's a business deal. Yeah? Right? So in this way, I have a permission to take a loan with interest. Because it's not a loan with this interest, it's a business. Yeah? Now, what's the problem? If it is really a business, so if the business doesn't succeed, and instead of selling the merchandise I bought in 200 shekels, I didn't find a buyer, and I had to drop the price to lower than the investment. Instead of selling it in 200 and to make 100% profit, I had to sell it in 50 shekels, and not only that I didn't do money, I lost money. Chas v'shalom. Right? So if I took money as investment in a business, so if I lost, so my business partner lost. So he's a partner also for the losing in the business, not only for gaining in the business, right? So then it should be that not only that I will not pay him the 100 shekels, he will get only 25 shekels back. I don't know, some kind of calculation. Yeah? So he lost the majority of his investment. But today, when you take a loan from the bank to make a business, first of all, people don't make business. Right? They take the loan and they buy food. They eat the food. So there's no business here. Right? What's the business? What kind of a business it is? You're sustaining my family. It's a good investment. Yeah? There's no business, right? And even if you call it a business, so the business is like, it's not a real partnership, because in a real partnership, it's if I'm gaining, I'm sharing the profit. If I'm losing, we're sharing the loss, right? There's nothing like that in the loans that they take from the bank. right?
How's
The bank is taking the interest anyhow. You have the loan, and you have to pay a certain interest, and that's it, right? So so how can you say that the heter risk of the bank works? It's very difficult, right?
Wow.
So there is many rabbis that they say that the only permission to take money from the bank with interest, to take a loan from the bank by interest, is only if you're really going to use the money for investment in a business. And then you can say that the bank is a partner for the profit, but not for loss. So it's not a real partnership, but you make a condition. You make a condition within the investment that you have to pay the investor anyhow. Yeah, the investor is the bank, so you have to pay the investor back anyhow. He's getting his share anyhow. So it's not such a like a groise metzia of a heter riska, yeah. But that's the reality of most of the people. Most of the people today, generally in the world, even rich people. Forget about poor people. Even rich people. Most of the people, they are living with money that they don't really have, right? They're taking money like from the bank, whatever it is. Okay, it's a crazy world. I said it yesterday. This financial system that came to be in the world is quite a disaster, and today people find out about it because the economy is anyhow. Baruch Hashem, Hashem will bring good news for everybody, that everybody will have what they need, plus to be able to sustain themselves and to sit and learn Torah as much as possible. Anyhow,
I just if a business borrow money and they have a history of always paying it back, then is there? I mean, there's still halakhic issues because people at the bank still could be Jews, right? I mean, I'm saying even.
It's not about what's the history of the person. That's not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, first of all, what's the purpose of the taking the loan? Usually when people are taking loan from the bank, it's not to invest in a business. Sometimes it is, but usually it's not. Usually it's because they need money to sustain themselves. They need to pay bills, they need to go to the supermarket, they need this, they need that. They want to go to a vacation, they want to buy a new car, so they're taking loans, right? Loans and loans and loans. That's usually the case, right? So there's no heter riska for that.
But what if it is for a business that's
If it is for a business, so okay, fine. So then you have you have a permission. The heter riska is for iska, for business. Yeah.
okay?
So you can say that, look, if I won't have money to pay for the groceries in the supermarket, so obviously I won't be able to do any business. So in a certain way, it's not a direct way, but in a certain way, it's I have to have it to that's part of my expenses of my business. Okay, let's say maybe, but how many people really have a business, their own business? I don't know. Anyhow, it's a very difficult issue, the heter riska.
But if nobody at the bank is Jewish, you still need the heter riska.
Like, what do you mean when you say no one in the bank? I'm not the cashier is not the case. Is not doesn't count, right? The question is, who is the owner? Do you know who is the owner of the bank?
I'm saying right. So what?
Usually today the banks have like shares. So do you know like all the bank own all the share owners? Anyone can I can invest money in buying shares of Bank Poly, for example.
Yeah.
So I become to be partner of Bank Poly. I'm one of the owners because I bought shares, right?
Yeah.
So now all the loans that they give with interest, I'm part of that prohibition because I'm part of the owners. I'm one of the owners. So anything that they give as a loan with interest, it's on my back. And also, if until now there was no one Jewish there, so now it became to be a problem for all of the people that took loans with interest. If the heter riska doesn't apply for them, that it became to be prohibition.
Does that have to be that the person has a high level of shareholders? Like, it has to be a big percentage?
No.
Even a little.
Yeah, I bought one share. I don't know how much is one share of one of the banks, but I'm assuming that it's not a little money. I'm assuming it's a lot of money, but it doesn't matter. If it's whatever it is, the minimum investment that will consider to be a shareholder. I made myself a problem. So that's okay. We're going off the subject, but it's important. It's important halachot, and actually I was waiting for an opportunity to teach it because I think that it's a big issue and people are not aware of that. Most of the people in the world are not aware of that. So it's not only when I'm directly bought the shares of the bank. It's also many people, they putting their money in investment company. Yeah? And the investment company, they buying all kinds of shares, buying and selling all kinds of shares. And the people that invested, they put their investment in this company of the investments. I don't know how you call it in English. There's a certain name for that. I think it's called VC, something like that. Virtual capital. I don't remember. Virgin capital, something like that.
Venture.
I think so. I think it's something like that. So there's companies, but there's many companies in the world that they are making investment for people. Yeah, I don't know anything about shares. I don't know which shares to buy, when to sell. So I'm giving it to someone that he knows. I'm giving my money to someone that he knows, and he's buying, selling. Yeah. So it could be that I didn't mean to buy shares of the bank, but this guy bought for me. He's my shliach. Is my messenger. He took my money, bought for me shares of this bank, and I'm not even aware of the fact that I'm like a share owner of this bank. Then when I'm getting to heaven, so they tell me, hello, you went through the prohibition of interest. Yeah, it's an issue. It's a big issue.
If there was no Gentiles involved at all, I'm sorry, no Jews at all, then it would be.
Okay, look.
But
Okay, forget about it. Let's continue with the Halachot Shabbos. We can continue with those subject matters for eternity. I want to continue here. Lemaise, the Mishnah was telling us, if you need to take a loan for the food of Shabbos or some kind of mitzvah from a non-Jew or from a Jew with a heter iska, with a permission, like we said, yeah. אם שלחו לו דבר מאכל שיאכל לנו בשבס, לא יאכל לנו בחול. כן כתב בספר חסידים. Now what about, let's say that I'm sending my friend a present, yeah, a wine for Shabbos, and he wants to drink it Friday. He have a good mood, he wants to celebrate Friday. Does he have it to permission? No. I gave him the wine for Shabbos. He cannot use it for a weekday, right? The reason I wanted to have part of his mitzvah, of his Shabbos meal, so he cannot use it for the weekday. If he opened it for Shabbos and he have leftovers, so then maybe you can say that he can have the leftovers after Shabbos. That's also a question, but it's easier. Okay. Now. אין לקמן סמן ריש צדיק ד' ד' שולחן ערוך שם דעני יכול לשנות בנקבת פורים ומה שירצה אף אם ירבו לצורך פורים. לכן גם שם יש מחבירים בזה. Okay, so the Mishnah Berurah is giving us direction for the same issue, that you have a reality that some people, they go and they collect money for poor people to give it for poor people for Purim, yeah? And then the poor people, they don't want to spend everything for Purim. They want to keep it for whatever comes afterwards, the next Shabbos, whatever it is, the weekday, whatever they need. Is it allowed or it's not allowed? The reason of collecting the tzedakah was for Purim. Can you use it for other things? So the Mishnah Berurah says that there is a permission, but there is also those that are stringent about it. So if somebody wants to be stringent about it, it makes sense. There is a reason to be stringent about it. Yeah? Okay. Now, Now, after this whole discussion of Mishnah Berurah, paragraph Daled, we got to what we started the shiur with about the laundry, the cleaning the clothing for Shabbos. משנה ברורה ה' מפני, היינו כדי שיהיו לבנים בשבס, אבל לא בערב שבס, כדי שיהיו פנויים להתעסק בצורכי שבס. לפי זה צריך להיזהר שלא ללך בחלוק אחד כמה שבתות, כדי שלא לעבור על תקנת עזרא. So what is the reason, according to Mishnah Berurah, for the takana of Ezra Sofer to clean the clothing in Thursday? He says that it will be white for Shabbos. Okay? Your clothing are white in Shabbos? It says you need to have white clothing in Shabbos, right? Okay. There's a siman later on in the Mishnah Berurah says that our custom is not to wear white in Shabbos, but in the time of Ezra Sofer you see clear source. Even the Mishnah Berurah admits that the Ikar Takana of Ezra Sofer is that people will have white clothing for Shabbos. Okay.
White shirts.
White clothing. Doesn't say shirts. Now, what about if somebody wants to wear the same clothing without cleaning them one Shabbos after another? Yeah? He doesn't want to wash it every week. He has clothing for Shabbos, and he's wearing it every Shabbos without clothing until it will get dirty, and then he will clean it. Mishnah Berurah says, no good. You have to clean it every week for Shabbos. That's part of the Takanat Ezra. If you're not doing it, you're breaking Takanat Ezra. Okay? It's good to know. Let's read the Ramah now. The Ramah says, ונוהגים ללוש כדי שיעור חלה בבית כדי לעשות במלאכה ולמצוא עליהם בשבס ויום טוב. Yeah? There is a custom of making challah for Shabbos. הפרשת challah. What does it mean, הפרשת challah, you know?
Well, you take out a little bit put it in some aluminum foil and you burn it.
That's part of that.
Right.
But let's start with a different point. Let's start with mixing the flour with water. Yeah? And you have to have a certain amount. What is the amount that gives you the obligation of taking out challah? Mem Gimel Beitzim. Okay? When you have 43 eggs, the volume of 43 eggs, then you need to take out a Afrashas Challah. And there's a whole discussion how much it should be the Afrashas Challah. Should it be Kazait, less than Kazait? In time of the Bet HaMikdash, so we used to give it to the Kohen, so then it makes sense to take a lot. But today, when there's no Kohanim that can eat it, because the Kohanim is supposed to eat it when they are pure. Today, unfortunately, we don't have the ashes of the red cow, so the Kohanim are not pure, unfortunately. So then they cannot eat the challah. So when the Kohen cannot eat the challah, so why to take a lot of challah from the dough and burn it, right? So there's many people that they take just a little bit, just a tiny bit, yeah, just something. But so there is a source for that. But what I'm trying to do, and that's the custom of the Arizal, that even though the Kohanim cannot eat it, to take kazait of challah. So it's like a handful, yeah, handful of dough to take when you're doing the frashat challah. Anyhow, there's a big thing about the frashat challah, and specifically for ladies to do it. It's a tikkun for the sin of Chava. It's a big, whoever, a woman that is able to do frashat challah, specifically Friday, it's a big thing because it's tikkun for the sin of Chava. And the Ramah says that is kvod Shabbos v'yom tov ve'en לשנות. Okay? Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. כדי שיעור חלה, היינו מלבד שהלישה והאפייה הוא מכלל כבוד שבס ויום טוב, כמו שמסיים בסוף. ובזה טעם לקיים מצוות חלה לפי שאיבדה את אדם הראשון שהיה חלתו של עולם, שנברא בערב שבס. Right? So the Mishnah Berurah brings the principle of what I said before. Because Chava was pushing Adam with the whole thing that happened there, that really we don't have a real understanding of what happened there, but in a certain way, Chazal is telling us that Adam was called the Chala of the world. Yeah? Like we're doing Afrashat Chala, so Hashem took the soil of the whole world, a little bit of every corner of the world, and the most from the place of the Mikdash, and he made from that Adam Arishon. That's according to the Midrash. So it's like we're taking the dough, like the challah from, yeah? We're taking the dough, frashat challah. So Hashem took the soil to make Adam. So Adam was chalato shel olam. So when Chava, she made Adam to sin, so she lost the challah of the world. As if Hashem made Afrashat Chala, and Chava lost the Afrashat Chala that Hashem did. So when the ladies are doing Afrashat Chala Friday, because the sin was done in Friday, right? So when they're doing the Afrashat Chala in Friday, so that gives the tikkun for the loss of the sin of Adam Arishon in Friday.
Wasn't it against Chalas, that Adam was the Chalas of the world? How does it...
Like you have a dough and you're taking out challah, yeah. So there was the world, and Hashem took out soil from the world to make Adam. So Adam was like the challah of the world, like the whole soil of the world is like dough, and Hashem took out from that to make Adam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do the same. So Chava was the one that caused the chalasai of the world to.
She lost the challah of the world. She lost Adam, so she's doing tikkun. The ladies that they are coming out of Chava, so they're doing the tikkun for the sin of Chava. Yeah. There's three things that are tikkun for the sin of Chava. There's midah, chala, adlakat haner. Yeah.
What's the shayla to midah?
The whole issue of the nida is coming because of the sin.
Yeah.
And people that talk about the benefits of nida in terms of, that's sort of in other words, calling that a side effect. In other words, some people say, okay, the nida keeps it fresh between the husband and wife, but that's not the reason for the
right. Right. Exactly. אוקיי. ואין באחרונים דאפילו הנוהגים לאכול פת פלטר של אינו יהודי בכל מקום בשבס ויום טוב, ונכון להיזהר שלא לאכול כי אם פת ישראל מפני כבוד שבס ויום טוב. פשוט דאם הוא אנוס שאין לו מה לקדש כי אם על פת של אינם יהודים, כמו שמצוי לאנשי חיל העברים, יכול לקדש עליו. Okay, so there is a whole discussion about pat paltar. You know what is pat paltar?
Yeah, it's like from a guy, right?
If you don't, there is some people that they go through the market, the Arab market, and they see the pastries of the Arab bakeries, and they say, yummy, yummy, I want some. Can I have some, Rabbi? So, what's the answer?
Well, the answer is no.
Okay, so there's two issues. First of all, is it kosher or not? Yeah? If it's not kosher, so it's not kosher. You cannot eat something that is not kosher. So if you know that they're using, for example, lard to make to whatever it is, to make the bread shiny, animal fat that is not kosher, so then it's not kosher bread.
Right.
But let's say that it is kosher. The only problem that it's non-Jews that are lighting on the fire and making the bread. So that's called pat paltar. Yeah, that's the concept of pat paltar. When it's kosher, okay? If it's not kosher, it's out of the box of pat paltar. Pat paltar, it means when the bread is kosher, the only problem that it was done by like only non-Jews. There was no Jewish person around. Yeah. that did anything. Then when it is pat paltar, the only issue is that it was done by non-Jews. So then, if you don't have pat Israel, you have the permission to buy pat paltar. Okay? So if there's no Jewish bakery, there's no one that is selling like pat Israel, so then you have a permission to buy pat paltar. So in Eretz Israel, Baruch Hashem, there's plenty of bakeries of pat Israel. So I don't see any permission to buy pat paltar. But there is places outside of Eretz Israel that really they don't have pat Israel. They don't have a Jewish bakery. All the bakeries are non-Jews. So after they found out that the bakery the bread there is kosher, okay, and it's not so easy to find out. I'm not going into all the details of koshering there, but let's say they found out that the bread is kosher. So then, because there's no Jewish bread around, so then they can use it. Okay? So on that case, that there is Jews that are, generally they are relying on that permission and they buying pat paltar. So on that comes the Mishnah Berurah and adds, if it's possible for Shabbos and Yom Tov to make sure that you have pat Israel, it's better to go out of your way to find pat Israel for Shabbos and Yom Tov, because it's part of the honoring of Shabbos and Yom Tov. So if you can do it yourself, very good. If not, try to find like someone else Jewish that is selling bread, or is making bread, and you can he can make some extra for you, whatever. To have pat Israel for Shabbos and Yom Tov, that's part of the honoring of Shabbos and Yom Tov. But if that's not a possibility, so the Mishnah Berurah is giving an example that it was relevant in his days, in the days of the Mishnah Berurah. So there was, I'm not sure exactly what army, what war was it, but there was like, they were taking like young boys also from the Jewish community to serve in the non-Jewish army that they had, of Poland or whatever it is. It was a war, I think, between Russia and Poland, I'm not sure. But anyhow, they took Jewish boys to serve in the army there. Obviously, they didn't have kosher food, right? And obviously, the bread was pat paltar. So then the Mishnah Berurah is writing, if that's the case, that there's no Jewish bread and there's no possibility to make bread, so then you can do kiddush with pat paltar. It's not a prohibition. When you have the permission to eat the pat paltar, you can also use it for kiddush. It's better not to. It's better to go out of your way and to get like pat Israel. But if there's no possibility, okay, fine. So you can do kiddush with pat paltar.
So if the only bread is the one that you mentioned has the lard from the...
No, that's not kosher. If it has lard, it's not kosher. There's no permission to eat non-kosher bread.
What if it's...
Pat paltar is kosher. The only problem is it was baked by non-Jewish person.
What if it has the lard from a cow or from a...
That's what we're talking about. A cow that was killed and not shechted properly. So it's treif.
Oh.
Yeah?
But if it was checked properly it's
usually non-kosher, non-Jewish bakery, they don't have a reason to buy a kosher lard, to buy fat of a kosher cow.
Yeah.
They will go to the next door butcher and get some fat from him for the whatever it is that they're making. So if today, because of the all kinds of rules and regulations of the health department and things like that, so there is many people that they are vegan, this, that. Yeah. So they made rules that any place they have to declare if it contains animal product or it doesn't contain animal product. Yeah. So it's much easier to find out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have the permission by law to hide it. Okay, in the States it works, but there is all kinds of places in the world that you can't get the information so much, and the government doesn't have so much strength over the businesses, so then you cannot rely on that so much. But generally, if they are declaring that there's no animal product there, so then it means that you can use it. Yeah. Right? What's time now? I think I have to go to pray mincha.
It's 10 minutes after 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll hold it here. Bezrat Hashem, to be continued tomorrow. Bracha v'atzlacha, and all the good things for everybody.